Folks don't know about this right here. Yeah, y'all hype about that Ja. Y'all don't know about that old school Grizz jersey, you know what I'm saying? But listen, I want to help you out and make some money when you're sports betting basketball. So I want to give you 3 things that you can do when you're handicapping basketball that's going to help you make money through the course of the entire season, all right? What's up, guys? It's your boy Noble Living. Super excited to be back for another educational betting video where I break down ways for you to be profitable sports betting and become the best handicapper that you can be, so you don't just have to tail picks, but you can actually find and research picks yourself that will make you money every single day from the sports that you love and from your favorite players, all right? NBA season is here. I love the NBA. I love handicapping the NBA, and it's a really good way to make money because there are a lot of games that go throughout the course of the entire year. Literally from November to like June, you can make money betting the NBA. And I want to give you a few tips that's going to help you handicap this sport through the entire season. The first thing that you got to do and pay attention to, and truthfully I think this is like the #1 rule when it comes down to sports betting the NBA, is you got to know the injury report, right? Like, it's an entire season. It's a long year, 82 games. And I'm going to tell you this one thing. Niggas are always hurt. I don't know what's going on. Like Kawhi Leonard, he's a part-time NBA player. I don't know how he gets his checks, but he hasn't played in like 2 years, right? And then you'll have other guys who will play 1 game here, take 2 games off, and then come back. The days of dudes playing 82 games in the NBA season, like, that's over, right? Not even 50-year-old Bron doing that no more. He threw that towel in, like, in Miami, okay? So because they're guys that are always going to be taking days off either for load management, injury management, they've got an ankle injury, there are always things that can happen throughout the course of an entire year, and because there's so many injuries, you got to pay attention to the injury report, and that's truthfully why in the NBA I don't really put a bet in until closer to game time. That's also why it's important you join the Telegram, because I can put out a video on YouTube and the information can completely change by the time game time comes out in the afternoon and I decide not to take the bet anymore, right? So I like to take my bets a little closer to game time because teams normally drop the lineups about 30 minutes or an hour before. They let you know who's playing and who's not playing, and that's super important because if you have teams where like Steph Curry's not playing, Paul George isn't playing, like that changes the entire flow of the team and the offense, and because of that, that can really dictate who wins or loses. So that's the first thing you got to do when you're handicapping basketball. Pay attention to the injury report. But the second thing that's going to also help you is not only just the injury report, but back-to-backs. Because there's so many games, you need to be paying attention to the teams that are playing on the second leg on the back-to-back or even the first leg of a back-to-back, because that changes the entire strategy. When a team knows that they played the day before, they might be more fatigued, they might play some bench players for a little bit longer, they might play a bigger role. There's a whole bunch of factors that go into playing a game back-to-back, and most times you'll see that a team that's trying to do injury management or load management, they're not going to play their stars on the second night to a back-to-back. So if you know it's the first night of a back-to-back and it's a marquee matchup like the Warriors versus the Grizzlies, it might be where you see Ja and Steph Curry play that game, but the next game, if the Warriors are playing like the Pistons, they might not play Curry or Draymond. They might rest them that game because it's the second night to a back-to-back and they're playing an inferior opponent. So that's something you definitely want to pay attention to because back-to-backs definitely have an influence on the team's stamina, their execution, especially down the stretch of the season when, you know, injuries are playing a factor, when the length of the season is playing a factor, fatigue is kicking in, and then back-to-backs have the potential to cause a lot of upsets. And that's the third tip that I want to give you when you're handicapping basketball. Just because the Grizzlies are playing the Magic does not mean that the Grizzlies are going to cover the spread. Believe it or not, there are a lot of teams, like, we're playing with professionals here, guys, okay? Yes, it's a no-brainer that the Grizzlies should beat the Magic. Now, but the problem is the spread of that game might be like -10 or -8. And that's where the problem can come in, because you're going to think it's a no-brainer. Like, the Grizzlies should blow out the Magic, and they really should. They would blow them out on any given day, but you got to pay attention to the schedule. You got to see, are they playing the Magic on the end of the back-to-back? Are the star players playing in this game against the Magic? Are the Magic hot? Like, have they won their last few games? Who's playing at home? Like, all of these things matter, and the reason why I bring this to your attention is because there are going to be a lot of teams that you're not expecting to cover the spread. They're going to cover the spread because of something where the spread was just too wide, because it was like the Warriors and you thought it was going to be a no-brainer and it's not, or there's going to be a team that they're going to rest their superstars when they play this inferior opponent, or the inferior opponent is just going to be hyped up, ready to go, because the only time that the Magic are going to play on TNT is if they're playing a good team. Like, let's be honest, they're not playing no primetime ESPN game unless they're playing a good opponent. So because of that, they're going to want to play hard, they're going to show out, and then guys like Banchero, who's trying to prove something, he's going to wake up for those games against the Stars. The Stars might not wake up for him just yet, but I guarantee you he's going to wake up for them. So you need to pay attention to these inferior teams that are playing these playoff teams or these championship contenders, because you might think it's a guaranteed lock, but most times it actually doesn't happen like that. So those are 3 things that you can implement to your betting strategy that's going to help you handicap basketball for the entire year. Okay? You've got to pay attention to the injury report, pay attention to who's playing and who's not. You have to know when teams are coming off of back-to-backs or when they're headed into a back-to-backs or long road trips, because that plays a significant factor on minutes and fatigue. And then the third part is they pay attention to when inferior opponents are playing with playoff teams and championship contenders, and definitely pay attention to that line, because stars might be out, the line might be too wide, this inferior team might be ready to play. There's a factor of reasons why they can end up covering a really wide spread, or even sometimes winning outright on the money line. So if you want to be profitable in the NBA season, what I need you to do is I need you to like this video. I need you to subscribe to this channel, because I'm dropping sports betting content over and over and over and over. Like, I'm not stopping. I want to see people be profitable bettors. I'm tired of seeing people lose money out here, and as more and more states become legalized, it's just super important that we get more and more involved. So I want to see you make money, and I most importantly want to see you using that money to invest it into things like the stock market or your business or yourself. So let's continue to be profitable. Let's continue to make that money. Go Grizz, and let's make some money. All right, let's get it and dictate your fate today. It's your boy Noble Living.